time to buy it would have been
Yeah, I knew it would be tough to find because a coworker of mine asked me for her kids.
I'm assuming you have. Oh yeah, it was great. So great. 7 months to go, 8 months to go. Yeah.
God. Excuse no way. That's so cool, Mom. I see. Do you want to buy me one, Mom? Look, Mom, it's a lot.
Booyah, right. Another adventure book. Adventure 415, an early Bronze Age book. I thought I'd introduce the book since I started this show with an adventure book. Adventure was an anthology series, and they featured different things, Justice League, the League of Superheroes, that kind of thing. Eventually, they also featured stories by Supergirl. The first issue of Adventure Comics featuring Supergirl, her first solo story was issue 381. This is a great cover. I gotta admit, man, I am jealous of this. This is a fantastic cover by Bob Oxner, somebody we haven't heard a lot about. Take it away, Mike. Maybe we'll discuss a little bit more about the artist in question for this cover, too.
The reason why I bought this is part of the bundle.
From the Batcave.
Reach up to $100. But the reason why also is just like if you're budget limited, you know, there's still great stuff and great cover appeal, great Bronze Age covers that you can grab. I love this cover. I couldn't let it go. I had to have it.
And also you're getting a bundling in the sense of stories. You're getting a Supergirl main story, but you're also getting stories featuring Satana and Animal Man. And that's a cool thing to bundle all that together in one book.
Super killer deal. I can't be more happier than with that. I love that cover.
Also early, I think this is from 73. What happened
72,
back 72, 73 in the early 70s, what they went the direction, they went up significantly to 25 cents, but they added pages. And then they realized that, you know what, it wasn't working, so they dropped it back down to 20 cents and reduced the page count again. So they did that briefly. It didn't work, and but man, I can't still take my eyes off that cover. This is a great cover for $20 Canadian. Wow, I would have bought that if I'd had seen it.
And as we were discussing earlier, the cover artist Bob Oxner, he's no longer with us. He died in 2007, and the guy got big enough at one point where he's not just drawing for companies like DC. He was actually doing covers, and it's surprising that there's not really a lot of information out there on him.
I know a little bit about him because I'm more of a Marvel guy than a DC, but I have featured a couple of books that he's done covers for recently. That Adventure Comics 428, First Black Orchid, that's an Oxner cover. That's a very beautiful cover. Also, the first Supergirl series, or first headline series, the one I featured, also picked up at the Toronto Comic Book Show, the one where she's handling this madman in this bulldozer.
I remember.
That's another Oxner cover. So he specialized with the ladies. He drew the ladies very nicely. Long career, but he was one of those artists where basically when he retired, he turned his back in the industry in the sense of he didn't give interviews, he didn't go to conventions, didn't sign, doing anything.
Sort of like Ditko.
So basically, he just, like he got on with the rest of his life and put it behind him. But he is a big name, a legendary artist, which maybe is not as well recognized and known among comic collecting circles as he should be.
Lived to 90 years old. That's not too bad.
And he had a great output. He drew look at that Supergirl right there. Great pose, great cover. This book has got tons of cover appeal for $20. Booyah.
I saw it. I could not put it down, and booyah is right. Absolutely, man.
Fantastic book, Mike. Thanks for bringing it in.
No problem.
Okay, so next up we got Jose, and we are going back in time.
70 years.
We are going really back in time.
Yeah, so to 1947, post-war America. This is Junie Prom Comics issue #1 from December 1947. A classic Good Girl cover. This is in the vein of Archie Comics. It features a Dexter and Debbie Dale backup story. A scarce book. There's only 2 copies certified by CGC in the census to date. One, a VF minus 7.5 copy sold from Heritage Auctions, and they also sold a high grade, about 9.4 near mint copy that was a raw copy from the Mile High collection.
Wow.
In style, it's very Matt Bakerish, the artwork in style. And Matt Baker, for those people who don't know, he was a classic artist, black artist, very rare, obviously, back then.
For sure, yeah.
If people don't know his style, look at The Phantom Lady, a title I talked about with the issue number 17 being a classic bondage. That's Matt Baker. I mean, great
Oh, I
style
didn't
of art.
realize that. Yeah.
Yes.
Phantom Lady is considered the most famous bondage cover
Yes,
of
the
all
issue
time.
17 with the headlights. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So anyway, that VF minus CGC copy was bought by Cloud9 Comics, and they currently from Portland, Oregon, and they currently have it on their website, selling it for $585 US for a CGC 7.5. Now, it's kind of cartoonish. I don't really necessarily need the floating hearts around, twirling around the guys' heads to know that they're smitten, they're distracted.
Yeah.
I mean, the soda clerk there is obviously making a mess of things, and the other 2 guys are just so distracted that one is pouring his soda over his shoulder, and the chubby guy at the end is sticking his ice cream cone in the side of his head.
That's for sure.
I mean, it's got cover appeal from a Good Girl perspective. I mean, Good Girl covers, they're hard to come by, but this is more of a very, I would say, lower priced. I mean, he recently picked this up from upstate New York. He didn't even have a price on it. If you can believe it, I think it's about something approaching a VG. Again, the major condition problem, like the Planet Comics ones, at the lower bottom left on the spine, there's a chunk missing, okay? And it's also got some very chewed on the bottom. I mean, it is really kind of chewed there. But otherwise, that's the major condition flaws. I would say it's a VG minus, then a 3.5.
For a book that's that old, Jose, I have no problem with the condition
But
whatsoever.
I mean, believe it or not, according to the comic book realm, in that grade, it's only a $27 US book.
No,
Now,
that's
they're
not.
wrong,
They're
they're
wrong.
wrong.
They're wrong.
Because I mean, half of the books at this age, the cover will
Yeah.
almost be
And
hanging
we
off
got to remember
or
how the
falling
comic we
off.
got to remember how the comic book realm prices
the-
things too. If I go in and price tomorrow morning and enter my Star Wars #1 on Comic Book Realm and enter the price I paid for it at $6, well, that's correct. I did pay $6, but it affects the price of the overall average of Star Wars #1, bringing it down because
Yeah.
nobody pays $6 for Star Wars #1 anymore. Just like no one would pay $20 for a book like this anymore.
First
So-
question of an old book like this is the cover attached to the book?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a big deal.
yeah, I mean, the major condition flaw being, like I said, a small chunk, which is barely noticeable because it's covered by the wash coming from the soda. And, like, you know, I mean, it is very rounded and it's chewed at the bottom left, but otherwise a good condition book as far as I'm concerned. And it does not detract, and most importantly, from the eye appeal of the book, which is all important when you're collecting covers.
And I think Jose now holds the record for now showing the oldest book on our show of all time. Am I correct?
Yeah, this one is the same time frame as that Jungle 88,
Yeah.
which also was from 47. That one was April 47. This one's December 47.
Also, the Jungle Book beats it by just a few months.
Few months though. Yeah, that's a CGC 6 copy that I picked up from Retro Rare. That it's a nice condition book.
Fantastic book, Mike. I'm sorry, Jose. Thanks for bringing it in.
No problem.
Okay, so next up we got Eagle Eyed Oog, and he's got a real nice copy of Daredevil number 104.
Bronze Age good stuff with bondage thrown in. I'm all in.
So where'd you get this one, Mike?
Hagenland, same con.
At the
Wes
Toronto-
Hagen from Hagenland. Yes, they bring the stuff there. They have a bit of everything. Good, bad, and the ugly, I would say. They got some good stuff, but they got also a lot of cheap stuff. But that's not to hold it against them. They offer a variety of things for the collector who's
Yeah.
looking for just, you know, many different things.
Yeah.
This looks condition-wise pretty good, though. What would you say, Mike?
I give this about a 7.0. Fine, very fine.
And wow, look, Black Widow there with Craven, and it's a bondage cover too. I mean, it gets a little take a premium on my eyes as far as cover appeal for this book.
And you only paid $10, right?
Oh yeah, $10 Canadian or $7.50 US, worth about $16.50 US, I would say. October 73. It's Gil Kane, Frank Giancona. I mean, you gotta love the series. I love this run. I've been trying to dig away at it piece by piece, wherever I can find it in a decent grade, because you shouldn't get roughed up copies of this.
This run, I mentioned it in a previous episode, the run with Black Widow and Daredevil is a great run. Of course, it all started with issue number 81. But, I mean, for those 40-some issues, some of Gene Colan's best work, no, obviously not in this book, cover-wise, but, man, yeah, if you can find them, they're still relatively inexpensive. There's not that many keys in the run, but they're just good, solid stories with good, solid artists working behind it. You cannot go wrong with that run. As a run guy, yeah, from around 81 till she left 44 issues later, pick those up. Yeah, they're
Absolutely.
great.
And Black Widow being one of my favorite characters, and I love the breakup between her and Daredevil in one of the later issues before Elektra comes in.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great writing. It's
Nice storyline, yeah.
great storyline. It's amazing, and if you can pick it up like that for the more value conscious
Collector, yeah.
viewers and collectors out there, man, there's still stuff out there to get. Go.
The 20-cent cover for $10.
20 cents, that's my favorite stage. That's when they had the picture pane kind of windows, man.
Yeah.
Great time for Marvel. At their height, as far as their house style, yeah, the cover appeal on this one, again, top marks, Mike. There you go.
Thank you.
Great book, Mike. Thanks for bringing it in.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, here's Paul stretching collectability to new realms. We've got some original, should I say original 1977 Star Wars running shoes.
Yeah, okay. We call this episode Silver Age Dudes, Comics and Other Collectibles, and this is one of the other collectibles right here. So first I'll just show you this.
Well, you know
It's
what?
the original bag when you bought them in the store in 1977. This is the bag that you got the Star Wars shoes in. So we got that. We got the original box in perfect condition because it's Canadian. We got the French on one side, the English on the other. So you get that box in perfect condition. But look at these shoes.
Well, they
Brand-
definitely smell like brand new shoes.
They do. 1977
Whoa.
Clark's
Ha ha ha!
Starfighter shoes. Brand new. Look, never worn.
Ooh, the suede from the 70s, baby.
Yeah. And look,
Suede
it's
from
even
the
got the
70s.
glue from the, when they. So this, it's got the original tags. So yeah, Star Wars contracted out. Obviously, they're licensed product to different companies. Clark's was a shoe company that had the right to produce a Star Wars shoe in the 70s. They did the R2D2 shoes. They did, I think, Darth Vader, and they also did the X-wing fighter. So I picked these up at Retro Rare a few weeks ago. And I picked them up for $100. Now, I like unique Star Wars things. Now, we can all find 1970s action figures. They're pretty common. And even in high grade, they're common. But to find something like this from the 1970s in as good shape as this,
Basically unworn.
Oh, yeah, brand new out of the box.
to give you an example, I saw the tag, just the tag, not the shoe, just the tag, selling on eBay a few weeks ago for 45 euros. Just for the tag, not for the shoes. And I saw a pair of shoes just last week selling on eBay, used. They were still in relatively good condition, but definitely worn, definitely used, without the box, without all. And they were asking $400 Canadian for them.
Wow.
So, again, it's something you wouldn't. It's kind of unorthodox. It's not something you'd think about picking up as a collector, but it's definitely worth it. You got to think to yourself when you're at a store or you're at a collecting store.
When are you going to see it again?
When are you going to see it again? And I can guarantee you there are collectors out here that want stuff like that. So keep an open mind. That's all I'm trying to say.
Nice.
And now we're going back to Jose. And to tell you the truth, I've never even heard of this book before.
Neither have I.
Yeah, me neither.
But it is DC.
Yes, it's a DC title from the late Silver Age. This is Leave It to Binky. No, not Leave It to Beaver. Leave It to Binky, issue number 61 from July 1968. So, Leave It to Binky was a teenage humor comic series along the lines of Archie, published by DC, that ran for a total of 82 issues. Now, the adventures of teenager Binky Big started in DC Comics' Leave It to Binky, issue number 1, cover dated March 1948, which ran for 60 issues through 1958. The series was canceled and then revived with this issue right here, number 61, from July 68. With issue 72 from May 1970, the title was shortened to Binky, and then the series ran until issue number 81 in November of 71. The 82nd issue was published in the summer of 1977. Now, we were speaking about Bob Oxner. This is a Bob Oxner cover.
Really?
Okay. Yes, yeah. Now, the look of the series owes a lot to the Archie comic books, which were in their prime at the time and pulled in big numbers, okay?
Yeah.
So this was DC's attempts to kind of cash in on that kind of field there and give them something to kind of buy there. Obviously, the series, much like Archie, relied on visual and verbal puns to mine for laughs, okay? From a cover appeal standpoint, now it's hard to argue with a pretty girl in a bikini. After all, Sports Illustrated's best-selling issue every year is their swimsuit edition.
That's for sure.
Sex appeal sells. The entire rationale for collecting good girl covers. Now, the last point I want to make is that my background is in the arts, and I have some knowledge about the fine arts. The rogue wave that is about to engulf Binky there, kind of shaped like a claw almost, is a complete swipe of the color woodblock print by the Japanese master artist Hokusai, entitled The Great Wave of Kanagawa, that was published sometime between 1829 to 1833 in the late Edo period of Japan.
Whoa.
It would not be a personal understatement for me to describe that image as one of the most recognizable Asian artworks in the world.
So you're saying the artist probably knew exactly what you know when he drew that?
I think that sometimes
purposely?
they have a subtext and they're saying how.
Or it just
What?
came out of him because he saw it
So
somewhere?
he kind of got away with something there.
Well, yeah, he did. I would like you to show like in the editing process, like that print. A lot of people will see the image and say, "Wow, I didn't know that. What was?" Anyway, this is about a 6.0 condition book, a fine or maybe a fine plus. That price is anywhere between $25 and $34 US. Great cover, and like I said, for me, a little added bonus with that little kind of fine arts nudge to that great print.
Yeah, wow. That's amazing.
Oh, I love it.
And now I'm going to have to pick up at least one Binky so I can say at least I have one in my collection too at some point.
Yeah, smile. I can't. It's Dad's camera.
Fantastic. And another one of the books that you traded in.
For that Batman Adventures, number 12 from the back.
Sticker over a 10-cent cover.
Yes,
as well?
he mentioned that the this was apparently what they did to the Canadian books. This is a late Silver Age book. At the time, the 12 cents. Maybe that because of the exchange rate, they put a sticker over it and 15 cents. Whether that's true or not, I don't know.
Yeah,
but that was the explanation given by the Batcave as far as the sticker over the 12-cent price on it.
Cool.
Very cool pickup.
Fantastic book.
Okay, for Mikey's last book, it wouldn't be an episode if he didn't showcase at least one amazing Spider-Man book. Number 71, a 12-cent cover, Silver Age with the Quicksilver. Take it away, Mike.
I battle for everything under 100
Yeah.
when it comes to Spidey's. Not a first full appearance of Martha Robertson. Who the hell is that? I haven't even read these, so I'm not even sure. Do you
Martha
know?
Robertson, I believe, is the wife of Joe Robertson, who's kind of like the editor at the Daily Bugle. He's a black
Yes,
character.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's who that is.
So, I mean, again, this was part of that whole bundle deal.
From the Batcave still, yeah?
Batcave, absolutely. But the deal was just killer. I got it. This is about a 6.5, I would say. I'm not gonna.
I'd say it's higher than that. Look at the top left corner, how white.
I'd like to. If there's an argument, I don't like to argue all
So
day.
you're taking a half grade off.
Half a grade off, just
So-
to make it. Let's call it a
So-
6.5.
Yeah.
exchange rate converted 22.50, worth $84. Come on, that's a great deal. April 69. John Romita Jr. Sr. That's what it's all about.
Love Quicksilver on that cover, eh?
Yeah.
And it's a Quicksilver cover. It's beautiful. I mean, so there's so many good things going about that. The deal was great. The price was right.
It's a 12-cent Spider-Man cover.
love it. Oh,
This
love
is actually one of the last Spider-Man 12-cent covers, I believe. I have the very next issue, 72, which is a minor key. It's the second appearance of the Shocker, okay? And it's a tough black cover. Remember, that's the one with the stamp, okay? And I believe the issue after that, or an issue after that, they changed to 15.
15 cents,
So
yeah.
remember, if you want guidelines, guys, 69 is the year that went from 12 to 15 cents. 61 is the year that went from 10 to 12 cents.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
but great cover. You're right, Romita at his prime at the time. Yeah, cover appeal, good cover, man.
Battle. Gotta fight every con. Every con, I gotta dig one out.
Well,
And you can never go wrong. The Amazing Spider-Man, one of the most collectible titles in the Marvel Universe.
well, the bundle deal you got aspect from this, I would say verdict TKO, Mike. Way to
Yeah.
go.
Fantastic find, Mike, and I'm jealous. Very, very jealous.
Special guest Mike. Yes.
Okay, so for those of you that get offended by this kind of thing, maybe time to shut your eyes or turn off the video, because this, for obvious reasons, is not going to appeal to everybody, that's for sure. But would you tell me, would you think you even get away with doing a cover like this in today's day and age?
Not in our politically correct culture, the way that things are currently going, especially in the areas of higher learning in colleges and universities. Intolerance seems to be a growing trend or topic in these days, but enough about that. This is Hansi, the girl who loved the swastika, Spire Christian Comics. Now, in 1972, a guy named Fleming H. Revell started up a line of religious and inspirational comics called Spire Christian Comics. The line featured many biographical stories, including Johnny Cash, then Dallas Cowboys coach Tom Landry, and others. Al Hartley, who was an Archie comics writer and artist at the time, wrote and drew most of the comics for Spire Christian. Due to his Archie connection, Hartley was able to get permission to use Archie for Spire Comics and produced about 20 Archie-themed issues. Archie Gets a Job and Archie's One Way are two such notable examples. Now, the whole Spire Christian Comics line is very collectible, with titles like Tom Skinner's Up from Harlem and God Smuggler. It's easy to see why. Now, as cool as these comics sound, they pale in comparison to the cult status acquired by Hansi, the girl who loved the swastika. Hansi has become the Spire Christian Comics to own. The 1973 issue with the 39-cent cover has turned out to be a much more collectible issue than the 1976 version, which confusingly possesses both a 39 and a 49-cent cover price. Now, Hansi is supposedly the biography of one Marie Anne Hirschman, an orphan Czech girl who was taken in by her Nazi quote-unquote liberators and trained to become a youth leader. Her love and devotion to Adolf Hitler landed her in a Russian prison camp. One day she just miraculously walked out of the prison camp and ended up in West Germany, where she eventually turned to Jesus Christ. The comic itself has a dramatic cover and holds back nothing with depictions of rape scenes in the Russian prison camps. The 46 Overstreet price guide shows 58, 114, and 170 US as the 8, 9, and 9.2 price splits. Now, the strengths that make this a good long-term investment are: it has a beautiful blonde girl smiling with swastikas waving freely in the background. That's going to catch anyone's attention.
That's for sure.
So, an attention-grabbing cover, part of the element of a good investment. Second point, only a small handful of copies exist with a CGC grade at 9.2 or higher, so it is scarce in higher grades. It is the most sought after book within a subgenre, Spire Christian, that will become more and more collectible as time goes by. And lastly, and probably most importantly, It's a very powerful reference to one of the defining events of the 20th century. The highest sale the last 2 years, 2 copies sold, CGC 9.8s, and they averaged about $191 US.
Yeah, that's not too bad. That's for sure.
$85. Well, I mean, I looked it over. The front cover, pretty good, but there is some waving and some color break on the back, which
Yeah.
if I'm going to have it on the back or the front, I'd prefer to have it on the back.
Yeah, yeah.
Grade-wise, I would say it's about a mid-grade 7.
Yeah.
Fine, very fine book. Again, I'm in it nothing. I'm playing
Yeah.
with house money.
Yeah.
Great pickup for me. A kind of idiosyncratic pickup,
Yeah.
but nevertheless a welcome addition to my private stash.
And that's for sure. And if you're talking about a conversation piece,
This is it.
You certainly have one, that's for sure.
No, I've picked up a Christian Inspired book that has Hensey in the book as well.
Yeah.
And they're very you know, she's going through the hardest time of your entire life, and it's basically finding Christ, as you say, and all that. Whether you like that or not, is your forte or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting. It always refers to a passage of the Bible or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
At the back of the book, and you know, it's for each his own or whatever.
Yeah. So as disturbing as it
they're very, really harsh, realistic stories, and that's what
Yeah.
I really love about them. Is they're so adverse, the adversity that they
Yeah.
go through.
I think the main through line for Christian or inspirational comics is that finding adversity in your life
Adversity
and then finding your faith to help you fight
Yeah.
that
To
adversity.
fight that adversity.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
basically the whole theme throughout all of them.
Yeah. And considering it's a smaller title, they've got some pretty good. It looks like they got some good artists working.
Al
for them.
Hartley was a big artist with Archie, so
It's
I
a
mean they get
fantastic
a
cover.
crew, and it is a eye-catching cover. Yes, no
that's for
doubt
sure,
about it.
yeah. And not only that, definitely one of the more interesting books. So, hope I didn't ruin that. Definitely one of the more interesting books that we've shown during our comic book channel lifetime, and it is fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't normally showcase non-superhero books, but in this episode, I thought I'd showcase my Good Girl and vintage books that I picked up in a swap for a book that I found for no money. I win a book that I don't want, I get exactly what I want, but everybody wins.
It's what catches your eye, makes you happy.
Yeah. And it's not just about Marvel and DC, that's for sure. We love the independents as well, as we've said many times before.
First buyer Christian on our show.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I think that's it. I think we're going to call it a night because, wow, those are some really spectacular books you brought in, guys. And
And books.
I hope you guys liked it. I hope you liked the footage that we've been showing from the conventions and the Star Wars weekend and the stuff we've been showing. Hope you liked the footage, and apologize for the length of this video because this is definitely going to be one of the longer ones we've ever shown. But May is probably one of the busiest months if you're a collector that there is on record. So we've had a great time. As exhausting it has been, we've had a great time. So if you like the video, leave the comments because we love reading them, and we will see you next time.
Happy hunting, hoy hoy.
Special yes, Mike. Yes, yes, or third time.